Hi, and welcome to this channel. I talk about self-esteem a lot for obvious reasons. Self-esteem is essential. It plays a very significant role in the quality of life that we live. And also in this day and age where we have so much information thrown at us and we have so much freedom that we can do anything and go anywhere and become whatever we want to become, we are faced with that challenge of making decisions. And it becomes quite difficult, especially for those people who are younger. And when you're faced with a lot of decisions, if you do not have a very solid and high self-esteem, you stand a chance of doing things or chasing after goals that do not serve your true purpose as a person, as a human being. That is why in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 signs of a low self-esteem. The essence of this is to help you do an inventory on yourself and see where do I need to improve myself and what do I do to strengthen my self-esteem. Number 1 is when you feel threatened by somebody else's progress or success. When you find yourself feeling threatened by somebody's success, it is a sign of low self-esteem because you feel like you're inadequate, that you're not able to achieve as much as they have achieved, or you feel like their progress means that you're failing, or their success means that you're not doing well. But the contrary is for someone who has a healthy self-esteem. When you see someone progressing or someone is being successful at what they do, it inspires you to work harder on yourself, to try to achieve your own success and to try to make your own progress. So that is number 1. Number 2, you're scared to get out of your comfort zone or a familiar territory, especially because you feel like when you get out of your comfort zone or when you get out of that territory that you've created for yourself, you're going to expose your inadequacies, you're going to expose your flaws and your weaknesses. This is a sign of a low self-esteem, and this is applicable to your career, to relationship, to the city you live in. For example, you can have a job and you feel like you're very comfortable in that job, but even when you get opportunities to get a job at a better place or a better position, you're scared to apply because you're very comfortable in that job that you have, in the security of that job that you have, that space that you already created for yourself. Because you feel like when you go to a different or more difficult position, it becomes a place that exposes your inefficiencies and you're scared. That's a sign of low self-esteem. Number 3, you struggle to pick yourself back up. I don't think anyone is immune to anxiety or depression or the pain of failure. But the difference between people or someone with a low self-esteem and someone with a healthy or high self-esteem is the time that they spend in that situation, in that condition. Someone with a low self-esteem, if they experience failure or if they experience depression, they can be in that state for a very long time. It is hard for them to get out of that feeling, to get out of that state. On the other hand, someone with a healthy or strong self-esteem, while they struggle, while they feel depressed or they feel anxious or they feel the pain of failure, they get out of that feeling quicker. They don't dwell there for a very long time. So when you find yourself dwelling in pain or dwelling in depression for a very long time, that is a sign, not in all cases though, but that's a sign of a low self-esteem. Number 4 is when you feel like you don't deserve to be loved. When you feel like you're unlovable, that you don't deserve to be loved, it is difficult for you to believe that someone else loves you. And so you find yourself trying to get them to affirm their love for you. Try to make them tell you multiple times that they love you. And this is particularly true for people who have experienced emotional and physical abuse in past relationships. And there's an exception to this. There are some spouses who do not show any kind of love at all or any kind of affection. It is okay to check to see if they actually love you because they're not showing affection. But that aside, if you have that internal feeling like you're not good enough to be loved, that's a sign of a low self-esteem. And it can actually backfire and cause a relationship to die and to dwindle. Number 5 is when you always have happiness anxiety. There are people who, when they find happiness, whether it's in a relationship or a job, they get anxious. They are overwhelmed with anxiety. And it feels like a voice pops up in the head that tells them this is not real. This is not going to last. Just enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy the fun while it lasts. And somehow they end up exhibiting behaviors that sabotage that happiness that they found, whether it's in the relationship or at the job. So happiness anxiety is a sign of a low self-esteem. Number 6 is when you fear criticism or feedback. People with low self-esteem are scared of feedback and criticism, whether it's a feedback on a product or a service or something they've done or something they've presented, because somehow they associate feedback with their personhood, with their personality. They feel like you're criticizing them or you're judging them. And so most times they push back on feedback and they also push back on criticism. But on the contrary, someone with a healthy self-esteem is very open to criticism, is open to feedback, is open to even laughing at themselves, all in the name, all in a way to improve or to get better, to be a better person. So when you're afraid of feedback or criticism, that is a sign of a low self-esteem. Number 7 is when you feel insecure around someone with high self-esteem. Someone with a low self-esteem tend to feel insecure when they're around someone else with a high self-esteem. A good example would be a man that has a low self-esteem or a man that is insecure feels even more insecure when they're around a woman with a high self-esteem. That's why when a man with a low self-esteem gets married to a woman with a high self-esteem, it is almost impossible for that relationship to be healthy or for it to work. Because what happens most of the time is that the man tries to bully, to assault, whatever, to abuse the woman, to break her self-esteem so she can come down to his level and to a place where he's comfortable. So that is a very good example. So someone with a low self-esteem is always intimidated and feels insecure around someone else with a high self-esteem. These are just 7 of the plenty signs of a low self-esteem. But the bottom line here is that the world is getting complex. The world is getting confused. There are a lot of information out there that if you're not careful, if you're not centered within yourself, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you want, there's a tendency for you to drift. There's a tendency for you to pursue goals or go after goals that do not benefit you as a person or that is not in alignment with who you truly are. And so I think this video is very important. So if you know someone who this video would help, you can share it. So I encourage you to share with your friends and family. And also, if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. And until next time, stay connected.